Hey guys, what is going on? It is year end here, and in today's video we are going to be reviewing Fairy Tail episode 15. Sit back, relax, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Also, before we get into the video, let me know down below, are you still enjoying these review videos I am doing on the channel? Are you still enjoying that I'm still doing it like before Alien Zero comes out? Let me know down below, of course, in the comments, and don't worry, next week I'll try and sort out some editing for these styles of video, of course, because I do know, of course, that just watching gameplay is not really the most entertaining type of video. So I'll try and get some ideas next week, of course, to do that, have something like pictures maybe whilst I'm talking about the topic, of course, and try and maybe do something like that in the future. But for now, of course, let's just get right into our review for Fairy Tail episode 15, which was quite a heartbreaker, and it was mainly about Grey's past. So what happened at the beginning? Well, at the beginning, of course, it was talking about Grey saying that Ur is alive. Now, of course, that comes as a little bit of a shock because we've heard that Ur is dead. Leon's confirmed it, Grey's sort of confirmed it, but he's not been like fully onto it. But let's just say in this previous episode, he said at the end that Ur is still alive. So that was quite shocking. Then after he said that, it went straight away into his past, about how he met Ur and Leon. So of course, Grey at the beginning, he was living in a peaceful village, but then one day the monster that was Deliora came in out of nowhere, destroyed his village along with thousands of people, including Grey's mother and father. Grey was unconscious under a building, and then who came to his rescue? Well, it was just Ur and Leon, who were just passing by, seeing the destruction caused by Deliora. Unknowing to them, they actually found a survivor, and that survivor was Grey. So of course, Ur took him in and said, of course, that he would be her student. So of course, Grey at the time, when he was a little kid, of course, he was, let's just say, acting very rash. He was, of course, filled with darkness, filled with vengeance, because his mother and father died, and he had to bury him, of course, even though he's just a little kid. So he had so much anger, so much vengeance inside of him that he wanted to kill Deliora, which of course you can understand considering, of course, that Deliora did kill his parents. But of course, what happens is Ur, let's just say, takes him on as a student, and that she'll teach him magic, ice magic, of course, and so that he can become powerful enough to defeat Deliora. Grey, of course, takes it, but he's still got that look of darkness in his eyes, saying that he's filled with vengeance. So then, of course, what happens after that is Grey is taken on as Ur's student, and of course the first lesson they have is they of course have to withstand the cold, but they also have to, of course, take off their clothes, which now we know where Grey got his let's just say his little specialty from. So him taking off his own clothes, of course, at random times, completely random times, of course, and he of course learned that from his teacher, because she, of course, just say, took off her clothes. Leon, of course, took off his to train in the cold, because Ur thought that being as cold as, let's just say, ice and everything will help you strengthen your own body so that you can cast much more powerful ice magic, which does make sense, but it is quite intense training, especially for a little kid like Leon and Grey. But then again, of course, they can't say no to their master, so they, of course, did it, and it was very funny, of course, seeing them do that. Then, of course, what happened after that is, let's just say, they went to like a village where Ur was getting some supplies for, of course, for Grey and Leon, and they were just, of course, talking about, let's just say, Ur was talking to one of her friends. She was saying, of course, like, how you should find your own happiness, of course, and it was just a little bit of a funny moment and funny bantering, of course, then, of course, as that was happening, Grey and Leon was talking about how Grey is gonna, of course, is filled with vengeance, and Leon, he's well, he was a young kid. Ur, of course, was like a mother to him, and he wanted to surpass her because he wanted to become much more powerful than her. That was his dream, and that is all that he could talk about when he was a kid, of course, to Grey. But of course, Grey, in his vengeance mode, he was really not talkative, not like a normal kid, and he was just filled with vengeance. That, of course, is very bad because he's filled with darkness that he really, at his age, he shouldn't really have that. He should just have freedom, which Ur teaches Grey about, that ice magic is freedom. It was all about freedom, and that's why she, of course, is free whenever she uses her ice magic, and that's what she wants to teach to Grey. So, of course, it's a very interesting teacher-student moment, and let's just say Ur's teaching, she was a very powerful mage. she was of course very powerful, and I'm really shocked that she was really the only main ice wizard in that continent. Because where were all the other ice magic wizards? Why weren't they there? And if they were there, of course, why weren't, let's just say, they helping to take down Deliora? Because even though Deliora is powerful, I will admit there are much more powerful enemies than Deliora, so technically they should have been able to gang up on him. But maybe he took down an army in the past, we don't know too much about that. But you would think with all that death and destruction, a certain dragon should have came into play. And that dragon's name should have been Acnologia, because of course, as we learn in the Fairy Tail series, he loves death and destruction. So whenever there's a place that has a lot of death and a lot of destruction, he would always be there. So why wasn't Acnologia there when Deliora was causing such a scene in the ice continent? Was he afraid of ice? Or was he of course scared of Deliora's power? Well, that would be an interesting theory video for a future video. So let's just say that is going to be an interesting theory video. So you better subscribe for that, because I'm going to title that probably Deliora more powerful than Acnologia. What title? So of course, after the teacher-student moments and a lot of funny moments, of course, where Grey just now has the habit of stripping randomly in random places, even in the middle of a town as a kid. So that's very funny. Then of course, as they are going back to their cottage, they hear news about Deliora being in another city called Bargain. So of course, that city of course is, let's just say, near where Grey is. So of course, Grey, after hearing that, says, Deliora is so near, I'm gonna go attack him of course. But Ur and Leon try to stop Grey from going down that path, because as he is right now, he is just a kid. He is not gonna be anywhere near a match for Deliora. They know it, but Grey, of course, filled with vengeance in his eyes and just darkness inside of him. He can't see clearly, and he just thinks he wants to destroy Deliora and get revenge for his family. Which, again, is understandable thinking about it that way, because of course what Grey's gone through, but he doesn't know his own limits because his mind is filled with darkness at that point. So of course he goes off in a storm, and of course Ur said that if you go, you're no longer my student, and Grey of course says, great, that's fine, that'll take a load off my mind. Then it goes back to the present day of course, where Grey is talking about this to Lucy and Erza. Then of course they get ambushed by Leon's minions, of course, the ones that were doing like the ritual, and they start attacking the crew. But of course Erza and Lucy say for Grey to go on ahead, and of course they will take care of the business there. So they of course are fighting the minions, and Grey of course is trying to chase to Leon, saying that Ur is not dead, and it just goes back to his past then after that. Then at his past, it shows that Grey is on the floor, so is Ur, and so is Leon. It looks like they are trying to fight Deliora. Ur is using some of her most powerful magic, but that is not even doing a dent to Deliora, who is so OP, which is very, very weird considering we've not learned more about Deliora in the series. So it's very weird what type of magic he has. Hopefully maybe we might find more about that in the Fairy Tail 100-year quest. I doubt it, but maybe. So of course what happens is, as they're on the floor, Ur of course, it looks like she's actually lost her leg after fighting Deliora. So of course she's got this ice leg that she used from making ice magic. So of course now she is trying to, let's just say, protect Grey and Leon while also fighting off Deliora, who is such an OP monster. He is literally on Acnologia's level. So of course, as they are fighting off, of course, Grey and Ur have a little bit of an emotional moment where Ur is saying that she is going to seal up Grey's darkness so that they can both be happy, because of course her friend told her to find your own happiness in your life. You're very old of course, so find your own happiness in your life, and her happiness is Grey's happiness. So if it means sealing away his darkness to of course make Grey happy, that is what she'll do of course. But Leon, after hearing that, of course got a little bit emotional because his dream is to surpass Ur. And of course Ur says that you shouldn't really have that type of dream because there are much more powerful wizards than me. So of course have your eyes or expectations set at that standard and not just at mine. But of course Leon, being a little kid, that was his dream and he doesn't want that dream to end. So he of course rushingly and annoyingly goes ahead and he uses a special ice type magic. What is this magic, you would say? Well, it is called Iced Shell. A magic we are all very familiar with, which of course is a very forbidden magic, and let's just say whoever uses it, so the caster of course, their body and their literal magic becomes ice, and they can seal away anything. So anything from demons to wizards, literally anything they can seal. So it's like a sealing type of magic, which is so powerful, but it comes at the cost of course of the caster's life. So of course Leon, of course reading some of Ur's book, learned that magic, but of course he didn't read it to the end. So of course he was trying to seal Deliora, but Ur stopped him before he could fully cast out the magic. So of course Ur's plan was to use that magic. So of course she was, let's just say, commending Leon for learning that type of magic, even though she didn't know about it at all, because it's a very dangerous magic for them to use. So of course what happens is Ur uses Ice Shell because that is the only way to defeat Deliora, and she of course casts her magic, and her body literally becomes ice that is wrapped around Deliora, literally sealing him in her ice. So of course after sealing Deliora in Ice Shell, of course just before they do that, Ur says to Grey to tell Leon that she's dead, because of course if he tells him that she is alive, well of course then he'll start to think how he can undo the magic, so he'll spend the rest of his life doing that rather than living his own life, which she doesn't want. So of course she of course said for Grey to tell Leon that she is dead, which of course he complies to, and then Ur sadly goes, and it is a very emotional moment for Grey because his master, who of course taught him ice magic, sadly went protecting him and Leon from Deliora. Then of course Grey made let's just say a stand that they're saying he will change for Ur's sake because she sealed away his darkness. Then the morning came of course. Leon woke up and saw Deliora in Ice Shell, but he couldn't find Ur. Grey told Leon that Ur had died, and of course Leon got so pissed off saying that it is your fault. Then it goes back to the present day. Natsu and Leon are still fighting it out of course, and then out of nowhere Grey comes in and he says of course that Natsu, let me handle this. So of course Natsu does, but it's not in the way Natsu expected. So it looks like Grey is actually going to use Ice Shell to seal away him and Leon, so that they can of course take their punishments for Leon trying to defeat Deliora and Grey of course killing their master. That's what he thinks of course, and that is how the episode ends off, with Grey saying his final goodbyes before he casts Ice Shell. Again, another emotional moment for Fairy Tail of course. It was an emotional episode specifically for Grey, as we learned a lot more about his past, and I gotta admit, I wonder what's going to happen in the next episode. You guys let me know down below. What was your favourite moment in Fairy Tail episode 15? Are you still doing this, watching every episode of Fairy Tail each week before Eden Zero? Let me know down below in the comments. And of course, if you enjoy my videos and enjoy my content, please subscribe to the channel. I would of course very much appreciate it. Thank you guys for watching this video. Take care and peace.